But Belichick was fired yesterday. Here's Bill Belichick on the mutual decision to part ways.
Robert and I, after a series of discussions, have mutually agreed to part ways. For me, this is a day of gratitude and celebration.
He really delivered those lines well, too. So this is gratitude and celebration. I love that he started him out with a joke. I haven't seen this many people here since we signed Tebow. Here's Robert Kraft on parting ways amicably.
Yesterday, we met and mutually agreed to part ways amicably.
Okay. Here's Robert Kraft on it being an emotional day.
At heart, I will always be a sentimental sports fan. So this is a very emotional day for me. Some of my happiest and most memorable moments were celebrated with my family during Bill's tenure here. I recognize that it also is a very emotional day for many of our fans and most of our fans, as it represents the end of an era, one that hopefully will always be celebrated in this region.
See, here's the thing, and in many ways this is a lot like a relationship without kids. Okay? A relationship without kids, like, you don't have to stay together. And even with kids, like, do you really want to stay together for the kids? Because they know, they can feel the angst between the two of you. But, again, and everybody's perspective is differently. Like, I think on relationships, it comes down to do you still, and again, like, emotional relationships with a significant other is different than a relationship with a football coach, but some of the ties are still the same, right? Like, do you still truly want to be with that person, right? Do you still, like, love that person, love being around that person? Like, if you can't stand that person, like, all right, well, then it's over. But if there's just some things that have happened, well, you can work through them. I don't know. Like, I'd like to think I'm a work through most stuff type person, unless the number one thing in personal relationships is, I don't know, the feeling of love and connection and desire to be around that person. Like, if you just can't stand to sit in the same room with that person, like, and that but I'm not even can't stand, because that's like anger. It's just like when they don't do anything for you, you don't feel anything. Like, all right, you move on. In business relationships, this one had run its course, right? And it was an incredible course, but it's run its course. And the status of their relationship had changed. They had taken sides, most notably Kraft took sides with Brady back in the day. And I'm sure there's all kinds of other little petty things that add up. But I think it was, they can't stand to be around each other for even one more minute in terms of the decisions that were made to get them into this place as a football team. Could Bill Belichick figure it out and make a good football team? Sure. But like that kind of connection and a desire to do it with him, that just seemed to go away. Here's Charlie Weiss. He joined us, I think, 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, Charlie Weiss joined us. He talked about the potential for the breakup of the relationship.
They're just both jockeying for position right now. I mean, he got ahead of Kraft on that one and put it out there. Hey, I'm under contract. I'm going to come in and do what I do every day. Of course, I'd be open to listening as long as everyone felt that was in the best interest of the program. I mean, those are all great answers, but in reality, he's getting ahead of this right now. Now, I don't know whether or not Bill will be in New England or not. I have no idea. I mean, I'm on the periphery. I do talk to people, but I have no idea. There's only 3 people that know what's really going on. Okay, 2 of them are named Kraft, and 1 of them is named Belichick. They're the only people that really know what's happening right now. Because in those meetings and that jockeying for position, whether or not there's going to be a change or not be a change, I mean, this is a very touchy situation. If they decide to separate, let's face it, it would be in everyone's interest to at least publicly take the high road. But this is not if this is a divorce, this will not be an amicable divorce.
No, but they said it's going to be amicable, guys. If they said it's going to be amicable, then it's going to be amicable. Look, it's a great relationship, even if it ran its course, because it was super, super successful. And they did it in a way which was really unique. You know? And look, Kraft is an incredible businessman. You know, people forget that what happened before this run started was they were moving to Connecticut. They had signed a lease to become the Connecticut Patriots, or to move to that East Hartford stadium that UConn occupies. That was going to be an NFL stadium. And, you know, really, really late into it, they got Foxborough to pony up, and they built their new stadium next to the old stadium. And the first Super Bowl was when they still played in the old stadium, right? And to celebrate it was the new stadium. So some of this is, you know, let's not act like he's just an old man who's written some checks. He's cashed in a lot of profit out of this deal. They built Patriot Place, which is like a shopping center, and they have this a very average hotel that's right there. I mean, but for game day weekends, they charge to the nose for it. Like, they've done the whole thing. They've gotten every bit of orange out of the juice. I think that's why this relationship can end. Right? If all of the juice is out of the orange, well, then by all means. But if there's still some juice left in it, like, some tasty juice. I also, I don't like when, I like, it looked fine, but you keep telling us it's amicable, it's amicable, it's amicable. And the hugs are really weird and forced. The speeches are very short. The emotions don't feel real. Bill Belichick's not done coaching. This was a firing. He was fired today. It's okay to be fired. It's okay to be fired. But, I mean, Bill Belichick, who, I think, Dan, you said it the other day, and I'll credit you, and I've come around. I think you said it yesterday. I agree with you. Bill Belichick's the greatest pro football coach there's ever been. He's on a tier of his own, and then it's everybody else jockeying for position. You said that yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Dan?
yeah, we're talking about.
Yeah, because I put Carroll on the second tier, and the reality is he's on the third tier.
Yes.
Okay.
It is, you know, it's an end of an era we hear everywhere. And I think you even alluded this off the top of the show, is there are a lot of reasons in a lot of different places where it's an end of an era. But this era also happened, Doug, I believe, because, you know, Robert Kraft just honestly couldn't wait any longer. And this has kind of been an issue with the Cowboys is, I don't want to sound completely morbid, but these guys are saying, how long am I going to be around? I want another Super Bowl. Jerry Jones has talked openly about it, and I think Robert Kraft is in that same scenario of wanting Super Bowl number 7, you know, for his organization. And if you do right by Belichick and allow him to stick around next year, if it doesn't work out, then you've kind of wasted these past 12 months. And now you start the process and over again. And, you know, I don't think it was a given that he could or would maybe turn it around or how long it would, you know, need. And I think that also played just a role in where Kraft is, because by no means did, after they won Super Bowl 53 against the Rams, are we sitting here saying, you know what, yep, this is probably, you know, Belichick in 5 years will be gone. Like, I wouldn't have pictured it then. But now where we are, I think that there's some urgency with Robert Kraft.
All right, you got Gerard Mayo is the leading candidate on odds to become the next Patriots head coach. Mike Vrabel, Kellen Moore, Frank Smith, who's the offensive coordinator for the Dolphins, Zach Callahan, and Ben Johnson.
The other thing I would say to Vrabel and specifically to Gerard Mayo, if you got rid of Belichick, why would you bring in a guy who has played and coached under Belichick? Is it a different voice that was just needed, or do you need to really turn over the entire organization? I mean, flip it over, make a change. To me, if you're going to bring another Belichick disciple, you might as well have kept Bill for another year.
Well, the question is, what do you do with the front office too? Front office stuff as well, right? So it's a great question.
By the way, you can see that awkward hug on my TikTok page at Buyer Talk, also on X at Dan Buyer on Fox. But the awkward Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft hug, and then Kraft tried to play it off that Belichick was sick or didn't want to pass on a cold or catch a cold. Super awkward.
It was super awkward.